Nithyanandam. We are recording this video on 29th March 2025 because of the fear we have for our life. What I'm about to share now is not a story, but it's a desperate plea for protection from a criminal conspiracy that has already destroyed our lives and now threatens to end ours. My name is Nithyananda, also known as Lokomudra.
And I am Nithyanandam, also known as Nandita.
We both are sisters. We both are Hindu monks of Sovereign Order of KAILASA, Nithyananda.
And for years, we've been hunted by the powerful network of the deep state of India, which was instigated by Janardhan Sharma, our biological, predated, pedophile father, and the organizations determined to silence us because we have been a witness to their crimes. Their goal is to kidnap us, to torture us, to somehow make us sign documents, get statements against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, who is our Guru, our God, our mother, father, much more than anything else to us.
We want to categorically state, because right now the situation is like this. If we disappear or die, don't think it's an accident. It's a murder by Janardhan Sharma and his allies from the deep state of India. Let us first name the attackers. Janardhan Sharma and Bhuvaneshwari Janardhanan, our biological parents who have sexually abused us, assaulted us when we were young, and we were subject to extreme violence and torture from our childhood at their hands. And the deep state of India, backed by Janardhan Sharma, are directly responsible for any kind of attack, coercion, or if murder happens to us.
They want us dead because we are a witness to many of their horrific crimes, and they want to use our bodies as a pawn in their criminal plot against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Don't let them erase us.
The current situation that we are in right now is at a very serious risk, because trusting that after giving all the evidences and showing that we are being persecuted, we hoped to get asylum here in Jamaica. But after 4 years of long waiting, we were shocked to hear that our asylum process has been denied without any reasoning given whatsoever. And right now, we are at a situation where we do not have legal protection, the legal status. And this is putting our lives at a serious risk, because anytime masked men can just barge in. I don't know even now. I'm really scared. As I'm sitting and recording, I'm extremely scared. Because anytime masked men could just barge in, just like how they did to our sisters in Bolivia. In Bolivia, when our sannyasis were there lawfully with their valid visas, they had masked men who scaled up their walls, jumped into their home, and they just got kidnapped. And they were tortured for 3 full days. And when they were about to go into the international airport, at least leave the country, once again, they were kidnapped midnight and were dumped at the borders. So, given my situation currently and the persecution that we both have endured, I don't know what's going to happen then. That is the only reason that we want to immediately put this on record, so that anything that may happen to our lives, the blood is in the hands of Janardhan Sharma, his wife Bhuvaneshwari Janardhanan, and their network with the deep state of India, who have been continuously targeting us, targeting the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, targeting Kailasa.
And at any point, if you see or hear our AI morphed voices or our videos, deepfake videos, any of which is making a statement against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, against Swamiji, who is much more than a guru to us, God to us, that means we have been kidnapped by Janardhan Sharma and his deep state elements, and that we are not alive. Because even we will give up our life, but we will never make a statement. We will never tell anything against our Guru, who has given us a new life, who has given us the meaning to our lives itself. So if at any point you hear any statement, any video or voice, anything, it is deepfake, it is not made by us, because we will give up our life, but we will never make any such statement. We will not allow ourselves be coerced. So at any point, if we are not alive, it means we are murdered. And directly, the deep state of India and Janardhan Sharma and Bhuvaneshwari, all of them are responsible for it.
I want to give an overview of what we have been subject to. Because we are sannyasis, women sannyasis belonging to Kailasa, we have been target. We had a very terrorizing childhood. It was extremely traumatizing, especially when your own biological father and mother sexually assault you, when they are being so violent that they even get their deep state elements, their friends, to barge into the house and rape us. This was a terror that we had faced at the hands of Janardhan and his wife Bhuvaneshwari, who both had been so violent with us, bet us, assaulted us, and it was extremely traumatizing, terrific. I didn't even know there was another hope of life that was available.
And in the year 2013, our life took a completely new turn when both Janardhan Sharma and Bhuvaneshwari joined us into Kailasa's Nithyananda Gurukul. For us, that was heaven. We had a fresh new possibility in life. It was because of Swamiji, the principles that Swamiji taught, the safe ambience that we got in Kailasa, where absolute non-violence, absolute protection and love and care that was given to every children, we were able to hope for a new life, forgetting all the trauma of our childhood. But we did not know the criminal intention of Janardhan Sharma and Bhuvaneshwari behind this.
Around 2016, late 2016, both of them had infiltrated the monastery in the name of volunteers. They came in, and much later, in 2018, I discovered that they were actually not there to do any seva as volunteers. No, they were embezzling huge sums of money from the monastery. And when I found this out, it was just too much for me to take, because we were given a completely new life in Kailasa. Our lives had completely transformed, because we never knew such a life was even possible till then. Everything was taken care for us. The whole education, food, accommodation, and the powerful cognitions, a new life, a new identity to rediscover ourselves. So when I found this out, it was extremely disturbing for me. And after that, I had actually left from India on a world tour. It was in November 31st, 2018. That's when I left from India on a world tour. Towards the end of October 2019, I confronted Janardhan Sharma about the financial embezzlement that he was doing. And he was really angry with me, and he hung up the call. And after that, he did not respond to me at all.
At around the same time, I was in Kailasa's all-women university campus in Gujarat, India. And suddenly one day, Janardhan called me and he started pressurizing me to get leave and come to a residence outside of the campus, and under the pretext of resolving some family matters. So myself and my two younger siblings, all three of us, we applied for leave and I took them. And I waited, I tried calling him and I tried reaching him, Bhuvaneshwari. Neither of them turned up, none of them picked up the call, and I had no clue of what was going on. Suddenly, on the 1st of November, I get a call from Janardhan. He threatened me and demanded that I file a false rape charge against the SPH, against Swamiji. I was shocked. I strongly refused, and I was shocked at what he was doing. He threatened that he would kill me if I don't do so. Even before I could cognize what was going on, he had already taken a mob, a gang of henchmen, thugs, and his deep state connections, politicians and police, whole mafia, to the all-women university campus in Gujarat. And he went there with the media, everyone, and started falsely perpetrating a narrative that I was illegally confined and kidnapped. And he turned this entire blame on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, falsely accusing that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had confined us. Whereas the truth was he had fully planned this and made us come to a residence out of the campus.
And the reason behind this whole thing was because he knew that he would get exposed, his financial embezzlement could get exposed. His entire plan was to use us as his pawns. So somehow he could use that conspiracy to try blackmail and extort money from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism.
And the all-women university campus was surrounded by media, henchmen, mafia, deep state elements and militants who had barged into the campus, 50 to 60 men, all armed men. All of them had barged into the campus, started harassing all the females, started assaulting them, breaking the deities, breaking the temples, and threatening them. And the moment I got to know, I immediately rushed to the campus. I tried explaining to the police that I was not kidnapped, I was not in any such confinement. I was trying to tell the police the criminal intentions of Janardhan. But for 16 hours of my pleading was not heard. I gave a statement in writing to the police, clearly explaining I was no way confined or I was not illegally kidnapped. I do not want to be handed back to Janardhan Sharma and Bhuvaneshwari. If that happens, it would be a risk to my life and I would not be alive. I gave the statement to the police, but even after hours of pleading and begging, nobody was ready to listen to the facts. Nobody was ready to see the truth. And I realized that my life was in danger because their aim was to use me against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Immediately after which, I called my sister, I called Ma Tattvapriya, and I decided it was not anymore safe for me to be in India. And I decided to leave India. I took in help of another resident of the campus, Sri Ishwara Priyananda, who helped me to leave the campus safely so that I could reach to where Tattvapriya was.
And that decision of our friend, well-wisher, supporter, Sri Ishwara Priyananda proved to be fatal for him because the power that Janardhan has and his deep state ties with India was even transnational. He orchestrated a murder, took Sri Ishwara Priya's life away just because Nithyanandita took escape from that honor killing that Janardhan was trying to do. And honor killing is a very common practice in India. The situation that we faced at that point was he actually started spreading lies that we both were illegally kidnapped. We both are majors. And even at that time, we were adults. Janardhan used his deep state allies to torture all the female sannyasis, including young children, minors, assault them, and try to create some kind of a fake evidence. He could not. He tried to get police and his corrupt political friends, the corrupt politicians and the media, and somehow tried to create a fake kidnapping scene over there. They didn't have any complaint letter or a court order to do whatever they were doing, raiding the campus. This lasted for almost 10 to 12 days. And then he filed a false habeas corpus. The police investigated in the entire campus, gave a clean check, clearly stating that there is no kind of a kidnapping. Less than 24 hours, he was able to reopen this case, filed the habeas corpus, made sure it moved, and he staged an entire fake kidnapping, harassing us, went to all the deep state of India's anti-Hindu media channels and started spreading the rumor, falsely accusing the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in a fake kidnapping case. He portrayed as if we both were kidnapped. We struggled to prove that we are not kidnapped for almost 5 years.
And this was not merely just claiming. He used the deep state apparatus and its extended reach to even outside the borders of India to commit his transnational crimes. He was able to use his deep state contacts to file and instigate a blue corner report against us using Interpol, where he was able to allege and falsely claim that we both were kidnapped and we both were major, and out of our free will, we were traveling. And we gave this as a statement to the press We gave this as a statement to the police in writing. We filed an affidavit to the court, multiple affidavits to the court, and we also gave continuous live updates on our social media where we made it very clear we do not want to go back to Janardhan Sharma and Bhuvaneshwari and that they were after our lives. Despite all of this, our voice was silence. What we were trying to tell, the facts was silence. They were suppressed. And he was able to use his deep state apparatus to issue a blue corner notice, Interpol blue corner notice against us.
He was actively tracking our location. He could know exactly where we were. He was able to immediately get a blue corner notice filed on us.
As we were arriving to Jamaica under the order of the court, where we had to file an affidavit at the nearest Indian High Commission, on the way we were transiting through Panama. And there we witnessed the horror to the reach that he has transnationally using his deep state apparatus. A group of Interpol officers had waited right outside the flight. As soon as we exited the flight, our passports were forcefully snatched from us and we were separated from our lawyer and taken into a confinement. And there we were grilled with extremely horrendous questions, extremely dehumanizing questions. And we were psychologically exhausted and tortured. And after hours of begging and pleading them, they refused to let our lawyer in. They denied us of our fundamental right to have a lawyer, and they tried to coerce us to tell a false statement against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. But when they could not get any evidence, when they were not able to break us, to make us tell any false statements, they let us go.
Following this, we had come to Jamaica. The very next day, we presented ourselves in the Indian High Commission in Jamaica. We thought it would just be going, filing the affidavit and coming. But what we had to go through was something else. We were subject to our passports getting confiscated, a lot of harassment, and mercenaries were following us. Seemingly, very coincidentally, exactly at the same time, while there were paid goons who were attacking us, were chasing our car, Janardhan was giving a press statement, create a false video of mine saying that is my last video. And he started demanding for my dead body.
And as this was happening, when we were traveling, he managed to get a mob of Karni army, the militants, the notorious gang known for raping women and molesting women. He barged into the all-women university campus and all the women monks were harassed, sexually assaulted, raped, and children were tortured. He used his deep state influence to conduct illegal raids in the campus, and two of our innocent monks, sister monks, were arrested, illegally confined, tortured without food. They were tortured. Character assassination was done. They were defamed in the media. Lies were spread about them and Kailasa and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Janardhan Sharma used his deep state influence to bring the CWC, the Child Welfare Committee, who barged into the campus midnight, conducted an illegal interrogation to the children, showing them pornographic materials, coercing them, force-feeding them non-veg to try and make them tell the statement against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism.
When they found out that they were not able to break the children that they were there, they went to extreme lengths. They started harassing and assaulting our women, trying to barge into the bathrooms of our women sannyasis. Too much of harassment had happened somehow to try and erase our community.
And the campus was illegally razed to grounds. It was destroyed. All the temples and deities were broken. The campus was razed to grounds.
And everything was looted. After this, we had to suffer for the next 4-5 years trying to fight for justice.
And in this whole process, the media was after us. Police were continuously tracking our location, and wherever we went, our location was traced and leaked to the media, and next day we would see them on the newspapers. Our social media accounts were hacked. We had no ways to contact people, and it was a witch hunt. They were after our lives.
And even now, it's so traumatizing to remember. I remember how many hours together the police would keep calling us midnight and they just harass us for hours together. The same question they would ask. And then we will come to know next day in the news that that entire hour or two, they were trying to track our address, and that's why they were holding us on call. It was very, very, very traumatizing. And the whole time they would keep leaking our addresses. They would tried to demonize the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and it was too much.
And this whole situation made us realize the gravity. As long as we were under their control, and as long as we were citizens of India, the deep state of India had a very strong influence, and we know the connection that Janardhan has over them, and our lives were at risk. And we decided that the only way is if we seek refuge in Jamaica, because we had nowhere to go, we will have at least a safe place, we will have some kind of a protection.
Around April 2020, we went to PICA, which is Passport Immigration and Citizenship Agency in Jamaica. And this is the ministry that deals with asylum process here. And the moment we went there, our only hope was to somehow get safety.
We went to PICA to seek asylum, to seek refuge, because we had no place to go and our lives were at risk. But we were wrong. Because as soon as we went there and when we presented the facts and when we presented the details of the whole persecution that we were subject to, we were outrightly on our face, we were denied.
They were harassing us, threatening us to hand us over to Janardhan. And that was too much.
They said on our face that we will not believe what you say. And looking at me, the police officer directly started telling, I'm going to right now call Janardhan Sharma and I'm going to hand you over back to him. They took our passports for seized and it was hours of questioning, hours of grilling and continuously negating every fact that we tell.
And we were made to cry. We were crying over there. They didn't let us. It was a miracle that we even got out of there. After that, much later, we met with our lawyer here and he assured us that he would be able to help and make sure that we get the asylum process done. He even said that the minister would completely support us. And also he mentioned that if at all the process gets denied, we would be able to refute it in the court. So after making sure that all boxes are checked in, we said okay, and we completely trusted him, and that's the only reason we applied for the asylum. Janardhan, using this deep state, had filed on us.
After we were subject to all these harassment, we got a little relief on the 6th of April 2021 because Interpol, after going through all the facts and doing their due diligence on this whole case, they found the whole blue corner notice that Janardhan had managed to get started using his deep state influence. Interpol found this whole thing baseless and they deleted the Interpol blue corner notice and they cleared it on their side. They deleted it from their systems. And this was a relief to us.
So, much later, a year later, on 15th of March 2022, by then we had gotten a lawyer who had assured us that we will get an asylum here in Jamaica. And he also assured us that he would be able to talk with the minister, explain our situation, and be able to get the asylum done. And if at all there was no asylum, the asylum was getting denied, he also assured that we would be able to go to the court, he would be able to appeal for us in the court. And that is the only reason why we agreed, because we were really scared after what we had faced in 2020 in PICA. And on 10th of April 2022, we attended a virtual interview with PICA to present our asylum case.
And all this was happening in parallel to the court proceedings that were happening in the High Court of Gujarat in India, because continuously this and the interview here for the asylum process that was happening, and almost at the same time there were these continuous hearings that were happening in the High Court of Gujarat, and continuously while we were pleading that we do not want to come, we were continuously being forced, and different was trying to use his influence to get us somehow back to his clutches.
So this was a situation that had happened. And then, around the same time, Janardhan was also trying to somehow kidnap us. We would have to keep changing locations because we would keep getting trapped. We would find that our devices are hacked. And it was really torturous. And see, first of all, I want to clarify one thing. This whole habeas corpus petition is so baseless, even in fundamental levels. I was not even in India at that time, or even a full year before that. So there was no way that the court had territorial jurisdiction over me. he could not find. And I had never even been to Gujarat. So he filed this, Janardhan filed a habeas corpus petition in the High Court of Gujarat, where I was not there, and the territorial jurisdiction does not even apply for me. But we kept putting every effort of it. I would submit with that. Our lawyers would try to argue on this. The influence that Janardhan had was so strong. From 2019, for so many years, he was able to make sure, using these deep state elements, he was able to ensure that the territorial jurisdiction was not heard in the court. Never I would get any such attack. And around May 2022, one hearing, Janardhan's lawyer submitted a NCP report. Listen to this carefully. This is an intergovernmental communication, extremely highly confidential communication, which nobody else could have access to. And at that time, in the court, even the chief prosecutor did not have access to this document. It was that level, highly confidential document. How did Janardhan get access to such a highly confidential document? In fact, the recording that you will see now will clearly show you that nobody, even when the lawyer produced the report, even the people, the prosecutor, public prosecutor, and the judges, none of them were aware of this document. It was a very highly confidential communication between government of Jamaica, the government of India, and Janardhan was able to use his deep state nexus to get access into it. This woke us up because we realized how the deep state able to use the strong ties that the government of India and the government of Jamaica has to use. They're able to use the strong ties to have their vested interests fulfilled. We were shocked because we realized, as we all read in the reports often, we realized that the ties between the government of Jamaica and India are becoming stronger. And this means the access that the deep state of India can have to fulfill its notorious, to fulfill its criminal agendas would be lot more easier. And NCB report was a wake-up call to us. And further, this was exemplified again when one of the politicians, a deep state element, Kashyap Jani, a ruling party politician, confessed on video that he orchestrated this attack against us along with Janardhan. And we had submitted all this. We approached the UNHCR, we literally went to every embassy possible, everywhere possible. And we had also, as we had also given our application, asylum application in Jamaica. But unfortunately, even after providing all the evidences, on 5th of September 2022, our asylum application was denied. On September 12, 2022, we filed an appeal through our lawyer to the court. We filed an appeal through our lawyer for the asylum application. Again, it took almost 6 to 7 months, and then we heard back. So we filed an appeal on the 12th of September 2022. And again, we filed more further evidences on February 25th, 2023 to the Minister of National Security. And over the course of time, we kept sending multiple emails. We filed multiple evidences, additional evidences through our lawyer, updating the ministry of danger of our lives. We were submitting the proofs, evidences of different attacks, attempts to forcefully take us by Janardhan Sharma using the deep state elements. We continuously provided all of it. But unfortunately, we did not receive proactive responsive silence. So we did not even know what our current scenario was, whether it is being processed, what is happening. We had no information of this. And in May 2023, PICA had referred our case to CTOP, which is the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crimes Investigation Branch. And it was very weird for us because we didn't understand why it had to go into CTOP. And then they started pressuring us for a physical interview. We clearly, respectfully stated to them about the concerns that we are having, the fears that we are having, how even stepping out of our stay is very dangerous for our lives. And the traumatic experience that we had at PICA
how it deeply traumatized us, and we told them how we were having the panic attack every time we remembered that, and we expressed to them that we do not want to come physically, and we request that they agree for a virtual interview, which they did. On the 19th of October 2023, we had the detective inspector who agreed to have a virtual interview. And after October 2023, for many, many, many months, no response, or we did not hear anything back from them. And while this was happening, we had a huge blessing, because on December 8th of 2023, we were able to voice out this persecution. We were able to present this in the United Nations, the grace and blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. We got an opportunity to voice out this persecution in the United Nations. And this literally turned the tables for us, because here for the first time, we got a platform where we could present our facts. We could state the criminal intention of Janardhan and his deep state nexus clearly and expose them in a platform like the United Nations and the listening of the global leaders. And this turned the tables around for us, because just within a month, we were able to have a virtual interview with the judges of the High Court of Gujarat. And they interviewed us, they interrogated us, they asked us questions. After a thorough analysis, they clearly came to a conclusion that the whole habeas corpus was fraudulent, baseless, and they dismissed the petition and exonerated the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And this marked a turning point for us. And we heard this victorious news on the 2nd of February 2024 when the official order came, and this marked a huge victory. Almost 5 years of running pillar to post, screaming out to everyone what the facts were. Finally, the truth was heard, justice prevailed. Though the dismissal of the habeas corpus petition was a turning point, and it clearly proved our facts as true, and the whole claims of Janardhan as clearly lie and baseless, and his criminal intentions were exposed, but still we were left vulnerable without protection. Though the case was itself dismissed, that does not still give us the complete protection against the different possibilities through which he could use his deep state elements to get to us. We were still not safe. Our lives were not safe, because if we go at any point to in the hands of Janardhan Sharma, he would use us against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Even after that, we hadn't heard from the CTOC. It was more than a year. So it was almost a year. And then on the 5th of June 2024, we got the opportunity to actually have a virtual interview with the detective inspector. We detailed out the persecution and we detailed out many incidents, everything. And after that, I think a couple times we had meetings with her and explained to her. But the most horrifying thing happened a year later, which is just few days back, on 26th of March 2025, when we got to know that without giving any reason, without any opportunity being granted to us to be able to again explain our side or no justification cited, our application for asylum was denied. We immediately filed for appeal for a 3-year extension, but right now, the situation is, we do not know. Any moment, anyone can come, taking kidnappers, and our lives would be over. And when we read news like how the student in the US was just kidnapped, or how Mehul Choksi was kidnapped, or any of these, it says the deep state has such an influence, and knowing Janardhan very well and his criminal intentions, he would go to any extent. Right now, as we talk, we have no protection. By any chance, if we are getting into the clutches of Janardhan Sharma, not just our lives are over. Our biggest fear, what we're terrified about, is he would go to any extent, he would kill us, and he would use our bodies against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. He would create some false case, some false narratives against Swamiji, which is what we are terrified about. And one more very important thing I want to state here. The situation right now, I do not know what can happen. The lawyer who said that he would file the appeal for us in the court, he is now withdrawing. He's not
not filed yet, and he's telling us to find out another lawyer. Where would we go? We don't even have the legal status.
And suddenly, right now, as we talk, if someone just barges into a building and literally just takes us away, like how all the monks and sannyasis in Bolivia were kidnapped, assaulted, and tortured.
All of a sudden, men in uniform, but completely masked, they climb over the walls, jump into their home, kidnap all of them. They confiscated their mobile phones. The lawyer was right outside, but they would not let the lawyer in. 3 days, they were gone, kidnapped. We could not trace them. And after that, the habeas corpus was filed, and somehow the monks got. The monks thought, okay, at least now can we get the tickets and go out of Bolivia? All of a sudden, midnight, 1 a.m., they were kidnapped from international airport. Even now, we were not. They were just dumped in the border between Bolivia and Peru. They were held at gunpoint, tortured for hours together, and harassed, beaten up, and dumped at the borders. This is what, actually, given our situation, I'm what's going to be worse. I'm really terrorized about what's going to happen next.
And we have no protection. We do not know where to go. And I want to make this very clear, because if tomorrow something happens, we are kidnapped by the deep state of India, and which was instigated by Janardhan Sharma, we don't know what will happen to us. We want to make it categorically clear that at no point in time we will, or in any point in time in the future, we will tell anything against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism or Kailasa. If there is anything like that happen, that means we are killed and our voices are being manipulated, deepfakes, something is being used to spread lies. So please do not believe any of them.
And I also want to state very clearly, they are trying to use us to conspire against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, because this is a targeted attack. There is ethnic cleansing that is happening right now. This is not something small. They are trying to spread hate speech. Understand, see the power that Janardhan has and the strong ties with the deep state of India. He is able to commit transnational crimes. He is able to get blue corner notice put on us. The moment he learns about our travel, he is able to torture us for 5 years with a false habeas corpus complaint, and using that, he demonized the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism through all the deep state anti-Hindu media outlets. This is hate speech and genocide. Genocide is the Hindus. It is time for us as Hindus to wake up to this. We don't know whether we'll be alive or not. I'm sure what's going to happen. We don't know whether we'll be alive or not, because Janardhan will kill us. We will always stand by the truth. We will always stand by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, our Guru, and Kailasa.
In the recent times, seeing the ties between the government of Jamaica and government of India getting stronger is becoming deeply concerning for us, because
we have been observing how every attack is after the interference of the deep state elements of India. And we have seen it even in the case of our monk sisters who were in Bolivia. The attack, we have been in the Southern America since 2004. We never faced any attack. But exactly after the visit of an Indian government official, all of a sudden, we see that our sister and monks are all harassed and they were abused. And we have seen this in several situations, how each time there is a change in how each time the deep state elements of India are influencing the legal decisions that are happening even in other places, and multiple times at our life also.
This also means that Janardhan Sharma's Indian deep state network will be able to have more influence, more access to the Jamaican deep state, and we are very concerned, and this is a matter of our life or death, and we plead with the Supreme Court of Jamaica that justice is provided to us.
We pray the Honorable Supreme Court of Jamaica to please kindly consider this video testimonial as our piece of evidence, and consider this as our appeal to the denial of our asylum application, we request you, pray to you that you consider this as a suo motu filing. As till now, we have not been able to secure a legal representative who is ready to represent us and appeal in the court on our behalf. We are struggling to find another lawyer still. But meanwhile, we pray to the Supreme Court to consider this as a suo motu filing.
And we pray to the Honorable Supreme Court of Jamaica that the order of stay against our deportation is issued. Because if we, by any chance, are handed to Janardhan Sharma and his deep state clutches, because if by any chance we are handed to the clutches of Janardhan Sharma or his deep state elements, our lives will be silenced forever.